Ninja, who is one of the most popular video game streamers on the planet, did an interview with the New York Times, and the New York Times, always looking for an angle.
Always looking for this angle.
Always looking for reason to shit on gamers.
YouTubers.
And YouTubers in particular, Twitch streamers, because they have a massive platform, they have a lot of influence, and God forbid that the kids are listening to these guys and not reading New York Times or watching your propaganda.
Only allowed to have a platform if you think it's a
Man, to think when I stop posting videos for a while, the whole United States shits itself inside out. You people needed me more than you think you did. I was single-handedly keeping the country together by making internet videos for the internet in order for your face to enjoy something for a change instead of watching your country burn to the ground in front of your eyes. I mean, shit. Normally, when a child throws a temper tantrum, you tell them to shut the fuck up before they get an ass whooping. But when Donald Trump throws a temper tantrum for months on end, no less, he gets a squad of psychopaths brainwashed by professional liars, OAN and Newsmax, to burn down in a whole government building. I mean, what the fuck even is this country anymore? Don't think I'm just gonna blindly blame Trump supporters for this. Cause there are plenty of them who opposed what had happened and even told Trump to take his L like a man. But at the same time, they aren't off the hook. You people stood idly by while professional grifters spread lies and misinformation across the internet. You didn't want this shit to be controlled because my freedom of speech, though. My freedom of speech. I hope you learned a lesson from this. This situation happened entirely because you didn't want basic enforcement of fake news on social media. Because of my precious First Amendment, though. Funny, I thought freedom wasn't free. Or do you only say that to lick the boots of the US military bleeding our budget dry so they can kill more civilians en masse? Either way, this is the direct result of your stubbornness on free speech. Sure, you should have the right to say whatever you want without being arrested. But shouldn't people also have the right not to be lied to? If you're posting things that are provably false, you deserve to be punished. Period. End of discussion. You made your bed. Now lay in it. Oh boy. Too much politics. Too much politics. Too much politics. I've been drained these past few weeks. I've been spending most of it with my family. We did a lot of birthdays in the same month, and on top of that, I'm sick if you couldn't tell. No, I mean, like, I'm blowing my nose, but I guess that's accurate too. I've eaten enough cake to kill a diabetic as well. So, all in all, I need some fun times in my life again to free me from the evil politics that make me so sad. And I know just the place. Zero punctuate. Wait a minute. This isn't Yahtzee. This is... Oh no. No, not Clownfish TV again. No, no, please, no.
No, God, please, no, no, no.
New York Times has an anti-gamer bias.
No!
Why? Why do you still exist? I thought my ponage of you was so epic that it shook the world off its axis, and you fell into a black hole, never to be seen again, Kneon. But I suppose I underestimated your power level. You've only come back stronger, and even bolder with your bullcrap. If you're not aware of my relationship with Kneon, think of me as Nagisa, and he is Koro-sensei. If you actually understand that reference, I'll heart you in the comments. Anyway, you think I've given up on you, Kneon-sensei? But you are wrong. I've come back stronger as well. Plus, making fun of you has been super successful on my channel. The people have asked, and they shall receive. So what exactly are we talking about today? Ninja. You might know him. He's kind of a big deal. A little bit, on Twitch. He left Twitch for Mixer, but then Mixer fell through. He wrote a book that was kind of shit. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. Anyway, he made minor news recently when he was interviewed for the New York Times. He was asked a question about racist and sexist slurs being made in his chat. For some quick perspective, Ninja gets on average 36,000 viewers per stream on Twitch. That's pretty massive. Part of the reason why is because he attracts a lot of the young viewer base, kids in the 12 to 17 age range. As you might know, kids don't have the same filter that adults do. This is only exacerbated by the internet making everyone anonymous, So you could say whatever you want with zero consequences. This is often thought of as a positive of the internet, which it is. And it's a right I never want to take away from anyone else. But, yeah, you saw that coming. Let's not pretend this is all fun and games. There are serious consequences for that kind of behavior. To his credit, Ninja does acknowledge that this is a complicated issue with no easy answer. I'll link the article in the description because I'm going to start quoting from it. Quote, "I don't think it's gaming. I think it's internet culture. People are behind the screens. They say what they want and can get away with it. You have complete anonymity. However the fuck you say that word. Your information and data are precious and should remain private. But it sucks that there are kids who could say racist things and can be incredibly aggressive and threatening to women online and have zero repercussions." Unquote. Couldn't have put it better myself. However, there are a few quotes in this article that really concern me. Like this, quote, "If they're gaming and their first reaction with racism is one of their friends saying the N-word and they have no idea what it is, what if it's on my stream?" Ninja asked. "Is it my job to have a conversation with this kid? No, because the first thing that's going on in my head is, this kid is doing this on purpose to troll me. If someone says a racial slur on someone else's stream, it could potentially get the streamer banned. It's awful. That's the first thing I think of." Now, there's quite a few telling things about this quote. It's important to note that Ninja is a professional gamer. He is on the highest echelon of achievement in his field. So his opinion, by extension, says a lot about the state of gaming discourse. So when he says, "My first instinct is to assume I'm being trolled," that really explains a lot as to why problems like this don't get solved. We don't like to think anyone actually believes that black people deserve to be enslaved again. We don't like to think that some of our fellow gamers believe that women are objectively inferior human beings. But the truth is, there's a very vocal minority of gamers who do spout hateful garbage, and they objectively make life miserable for everyone else. Is this Ninja's fault? Absolutely not. He had jack shit to do with that kid's upbringing. And he is right when he says it's not his job to teach him exactly why he's wrong. That should be the job of the parents. However, there are two critical flaws with this response. The less obvious one is that racism and bigotry in general is a learned behavior. No one is born racist. They learn it from somebody. Who is the most likely person they learn this from? Oh yeah, the parents! Maybe it's just me, but something tells me racist parents are not going to teach their kids that racism is bad. Go figure. The second and most obvious problem is that Ninja, whether he asked for it or not, is a public figure. And as a public figure, people elevate and are often influenced by your actions and opinions. Should it be this way? No. In a perfect world, celebrities are not your parents. You should not be learning what's right and wrong from celebrities. But if this really was a perfect world, this thing would have never been president in the first place. Basically, this is not a perfect world. And if you leave that shit unattended, it only gets worse unless you address it. Need proof of that? It's called Gamergate. Gamergate actually had a real point to existing in the beginning. But then it was co-opted by shitheads who genuinely hate women and want them out of gaming completely, so they used Gamergate as an excuse to harass women off the internet for good. Women like Anita Sarkeesian. While she has a titanium thick skull most of the time, it would be fucking absurd to claim that she's any threat to gaming. And that's why it died a whimper of a death not even a year later. Look, the point here is that you have influence on people, Ninja. Don't pretend like you don't. Now, I don't expect him to stop mid-stream and pull out a coloring book and teach everyone why racism is bad on a regular basis. No, don't be silly, that's absurd. But I think he should make a show about it when the time comes. If he sees it in chat, he should address it. Nothing big, just address it. Tell him, hey, listen asshole, that's not cool. That kind of language is not acceptable here. We're all here to have fun and you're making people uncomfortable. No one thinks you're cool, no one thinks you're funny, just knock that shit off or you're getting permabanned. That's it. And hell, he has mods too, they have a responsibility for this too. But don't come away from this thinking that Ninja is not a good person. I just think he didn't word it ideally. If you've paid attention to his Twitter, he has promoted progressive causes like mask wearing and stuff. I think he just made a big whoopsie with his word choice. As you can tell from his Twitter replies, people are kind of split on opinions, and some of their takes make me want to drink battery acid. Speaking of drinking battery acid, oh yeah, sorry Kneon, I forgot you existed for a second. So yeah, hopefully now that you know all of this, his propaganda-driven grandstanding won't work on you. I haven't watched this video at this point in the script, but I can almost guarantee that he's going to somehow blame the left in all this. He's going to cry about mainstream media bias, which is always funny coming from someone like him. He'll find some way to cry about cancel culture, as if someone's opinion being criticized is canceling them. He's going to bring up SJWs most likely, and Antifa somehow, maybe. I mean, fuck, you'd have to be really unhinged to do that. This is Clownfish we're talking about, though. Most of his rants about the Oscars was how bad California is, which made no fucking sense. But let's try to be as open-minded as possible here, despite knowing what the video will devolve into. But first, it's time we have a word from our sponsor. Hey guys, it's me. I go by many names. The Boston Strangler, the Zodiac Killer, the real Slim Shady, but you all know me as Karina McDaniels. As I have risen into newfound ultra micro internet fame, I've been more worried about my precious data getting out. I feel like my ISP is selling my data without my consent to unsecured companies that would hound me with targeted ads until I eat a shotgun blast to escape the torment. I feel like I require a product that keeps my personal information safe, with military-grade encryption, whatever the fuck that is. It sounds good to me, and I'm scared, but also I don't know what incognito mode is. So that is why I am proud to announce my sponsor, boardvpn.com/Karina. What is boardvpn.com/Karina, you ask? Well, let me tell you. Boardvpn.com keeps all of your search history private, so your ISP can't find out what you jack off to. Wow, indeed, my friend. You think that's cool? How about being able to watch movies from another country that are in a language you don't understand? That sounds good and everything, but here's something that will seal the deal. If you go to boardvpn.com and use coupon code Karina, you will get a 101% discount on a 10-year subscription.
Whoa, dude, radical.
Yes, you heard me right. We will literally pay you to use this product. What are you waiting for? boardvpn.com/Karina. You're too hip to be square, so be there.
And it's not his job. He's not wrong. He is not their parent. He is not a teacher. He is not setting himself up as a person that it's his job. Nor is it the job of any actor ever that if a kid watches their movie and says something racist and sexist, that makes it their responsibility to find that child and make sure that they teach them right from wrong. That is the job of the parents.
Yeah, I was wondering when they were going to come back around for Ninja again because, it was a little too quiet.
Oh, was it January already?
Because they come in waves. And it wasn't just about him saying that it wasn't his responsibility to moderate the comments. But he also said, again, that he doesn't stream with female gamers. He got a lot of shit for that a couple of years ago.
I understand it. I don't blame him.
He's just like, it's going to lead to problems,
He's not wrong. We'll talk about that later. But let's talk about this one step at a time.
Yeah, so I want to roll this back a little bit and show you some of the other headlines from the New York Times. Okay, so they did this article on Ninja. Teenagers made Ninja a gaming superstar. He has a message for parents.
Is that what this is about? He has a message for parents. And you know what? As a mom and a teacher, he's not wrong. It is not his job to teach your kid right from wrong. It is your job to teach your kid right from wrong. If you're just parking them in front of the screen and letting them there, I mean, come on, we're all parents. We've all done it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
We've done it too. I'm not going to say I'm a better parent than anybody because that's not true. I made mistakes. But if you let your kids just go do their own thing, if they can push the envelope and try to get away with stuff, they're kids. They're going to do it. When I was a kid, I would have done it. So here's the thing. It's not his job to tell your kids right from wrong. That's your job to pay attention and tell them right from wrong. I'm sorry, but it is.
Yeah, that's basically what he's saying. But the New York Times has an anti-gamer bias.
What did I tell you? We're about, 3-4 minutes into this video, and it's been nothing but smears against the New York Times. Kneon, I thought you were against smear campaigns against people with differing opinions. Well, that's the classic Clownfish hypocrisy we're used to here. Let's actually, as a fun little experiment, let's actually read that article that Clownfish claims is anti-gamer. Here's a quote from that article. And yet, as a scholar who studied video game culture, I do want to talk about gaming. Because I think it plays a special role as a vector for spreading the messages of white supremacist ideology that lead to violence. And I think it's a conversation that we can have without taking the bait. Because it is not about the content of the games themselves, but about the way the culture that surrounds gaming provides particularly fertile soil for sowing the seeds of resentment that grow into hate. Modern internet-based recruitment efforts are designed around the creation of a frictionless pipeline that slowly I've never seen that word, potentially converts to hate, and putting a bunch of would-be Pepe the Frogs in a slowly boiling pot. So first thing you'll notice about this is This is an opinion article about how white nationalist recruiters look for vulnerable white men who despise feminism to lead them down the rabbit hole to becoming a white nationalist themselves. By the way, everything he describes here is true and is demonstratable. I've linked a video in the description by Innuendo Studios. It's called How to Radicalize a Normie. If you want to learn more about this, there you go. But to stay on point, how the hell is pointing this out considered anti-gamer? That's fucking absurd, Kneon. Are you sure you aren't just offended by an opinion you don't like? That's what it sounds like to me.
Is that what this is about? He has a message to parents. And you know what? As a mom and a teacher, he's not wrong. It is not his job to teach your kid right from wrong. It is your job to teach your kid right from wrong. If you're parking them in front of the screen and letting them there, I mean, come on, we're all parents. We've all done it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
We've done it too. I'm not gonna say I'm a better parent than anybody because that's not true. I made mistakes. But if you let your kids just go do their own thing, if they can push the envelope and try to get away with stuff, they're kids. They're gonna do it. When I was a kid, I would have done it. So here's the thing: it's not his job to tell your kid right from wrong. That's your job to pay attention and tell them right from wrong.
This is exactly what's going on here, and I knew they were going to come back around for Ninja.
They always do.
They're laying low. Yeah, they are. So anyway, this is a more concise version of the article coming from Video Game Chronicle. Ninja argues it's not my job to educate kids who make racist and sexist comments.
And again, as a mom and a teacher, he's not wrong.
The world's top game streamer Ninja has argued it's not his job to educate young people who use racist and sexist language. In a new broad-ranging interview with the New York Times, bastion of journalistic integrity, Blevins was asked about the behavior of the young people in his Twitch chat, and specifically if he felt he could mitigate the bad behavior.
No.
Not with how many thousands and thousands.
How many of you go out there and play games? All right, and you're on the mic, you have the headset on, you're playing games. How many squeakers are out there saying using worse language, and you're like, oh my god, where are their parents? Like, I can't tell you how many times that I've heard, like when Trisket was playing games and stuff, the stuff that was coming out of these kids' mouths. I'm like, what the hell? And my sister plays games, and she's always telling me about these little pipsqueaks and the stuff that comes out of their mouth. And they ask me those. Our friend Eric is always going on about it. They are just like these foul-mouthed little twits. And then you hear them talking to their moms and their parents, and they're like, F you, mom. And
Hey, bitch, give me a hot pocket.
Yeah, it's like, and you hear this, and you're like, well, it's no damn wonder these kids are talking like that, because the moms let that. If my kid said to me, hey, bitch, give me a hot pocket and Coke, what would happen to my children?
What children?
Yes.
Oh my god, this is actively frustrating to listen to. These two people, I swear to God, don't treat this situation with any kind of nuance. Sure, you're right, it's not his job to parent their kids, but that doesn't free him of responsibility from whatever he says. Whether you like it or not, he influences kids more than parents in most cases. Kids look up to Ninja like an idol. If Ninja says nothing about it, they will assume that it's perfectly acceptable and just spout off racial slurs. But if Ninja were to sit down for just 1 minute, probably not even just a minute, and draw the line over what is acceptable language, it would leave a lasting impression. It would leave a lasting impact for the better. He wouldn't have to parent anyone's kids at all, but since you guys have already set up your narrative that the New York Times are the bad guys and must be opposed at all costs, why did I even expect any nuance to begin with?
The streamer argued that it was down to the parents, not him, to educate the children who post racist and sexist comments during a stream. And this is what he said. Your information and data are precious and should remain private, but it sucks that there are kids who can say racist things, be incredibly aggressive and threatening to women online, have zero repercussions. Sounds like a sane answer.
Well, it is crap that the kids can do that, but they do.
It would be awesome if when someone said something threatening, you could be like, let me look up this dude's gamer tag on the website.
Wait, why? Then you get in trouble for, like, harassing children.
Yeah, and then boom, it's Jimmy. Call parents. But he added, it all comes down to parenting. You want to know who your kid is? Listen to him when he's playing video games, when he thinks you're not.
Yes.
He thinks you're not listening to him. Here's another thing. How does a white kid know he has white privilege if his parents never teach him or don't talk about racism?
Very good point.
If they're gaming and their first interaction with racism is one of their friends saying the N-word.
Oh my god, they throw that word around like nothing in games.
They have no idea what it is. What it was on my stream. Is it my job to have this conversation with this kid? No.
And it's not always white people using the word either. Just want to point that out.
Yep. No, because the first thing that's going on in my head is the kid is doing this on purpose to troll me. If someone says a racial slur, it can potentially get that streamer banned.
Yes.
It's awful, but that's the first thing I think
That's the first thing I would think of too, because you know what? He's probably right. That's probably why they're doing it. They're trying to get attention. It's like when you saw those kids that were harassing that other girl that was doing the fan art of Mermista, and she drew like original Mermista, and they told her she was whitewashing Mermista.
Yeah.
We put their tweets up on the video. Now, it was public. We were allowed to do it. Then they were like, we're minors. You can't harass. We're minors. And everything else, it's like, it doesn't matter. If you're putting that out there, it's in a stream or something. It can be used. I'm sorry. Yeah. And parents need to watch your kids. But he's not wrong. My first thing I would think if someone was doing that was they're trying to troll too. I wouldn't think that it's oh gosh, I better stop the stream right now and pull up and call out their name by the
I really love it how much Kneon has to defend Ninja at all costs. I thought for sure Kneon would get super outraged at Ninja for saying it would be cool to pull up a kid's gamertag and phone their real-life parents. If this was anyone else, he'd be crying about socialism this, radical left that, 1984 this, but no. Since you have to run the narrative that the New York Times are evil and bad and Ninja is good man, you kind of just ignored that. Curious. But oh man, this geeky Sparkles girl. Her voice makes nails on a chalkboard sound like Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. It is kind of amusing hearing how much she is dominating Kneon in this conversation, but she very rarely adds anything of value to the conversation. She's repeated herself like 3 times already, and it's starting to wear on me. By the way, this video is 30 minutes long. I shit you not. 30 minutes. We are only 8 to 9 minutes in. Thank God I sped this up, because I'd be clawing my own eyes out by now. How the fuck do you spin a 30-minute video out of a 250-word article? That's some black magic you got there, Kneon. I don't know how you do it. Alright, for the sake of fairness, one more little highlight. Maybe I can glean some insight out of this video. I already know I'm not, but fuck it.
Wrong with that. Here's the thing. He doesn't owe anyone his platform.
No, he doesn't. And that's what, I think Mrs. Ninja is basically saying. He doesn't, like, he's done his part. He doesn't owe you anymore. But again, outlets like the New York Times, they're crazy jealous that an individual, okay, a white male, privileged white male, an individual has that much sway over the youth that they're going to start coming after him. They are. They're going to be like, how dare you? How dare you have the eyeballs? And this is why they attack YouTube. This is why they go after individuals. Basically, it's like convert or die. You either convert to our ideology and you become an instrument for us to use,
right,
to convert people, or we destroy your career.
Yeah, pretty much.
Your choice.
I was thinking too, you can stand up against something. Doesn't mean, and he stands up against, bad treatment of people, women, racism, all that stuff. We stand up against that too. The thing is, we can't control what all our commenters say. He can't control what all these other people say. He only can tell you what his point of view is on the situation and do his best to make sure he promotes that, which is what we do here. We think diversity is good. We think diversity the way that they're pushing it is not good. We think that, we've said we're against if you are.
This video is such an absurd waste of time. I had to skip to 12 minutes in because they just have said nothing. They're not even saying anything anymore. It's just more smearing attempts followed by feign accusations of jealousy because they dare to have an opinion Kneon doesn't like. Honey, you do realize the New York Times gets 130 million average readers a month, right? What exactly are they jealous of? Sure, PewDiePie can get 100 million subscribers, but how many of those people take him seriously as a news source? Not many, I bet. Where's the jealousy, Kneon? I'm not seeing it. The last thing I'll say here is, Kneon, sweetie pie, little sweet butter pumpkin, it brings me no joy whatsoever to just shit on you vigorously. I hate big mainstream media too. They do lie to suit their interests. They misrepresent situations. They blatantly push whatever narrative suits them. That I could totally agree on. But Han, explain to me how you're any different. You aren't. You're just pretending like you are, for no reason. But I don't picture you rigorously researching everything you do. How could you when you have to upload 4 videos a day just to stay relevant? At the very least, CNN has an editor-in-chief and a staff of writers and researchers. What do you have in comparison? You're just some average dude who can draw and animate decently, who found a perfect grift to profit off of. I sense quite the arrogance coming from you, Kneon. I don't really understand it. Do you think you're really that good? I don't think you're quite the powerhouse you like to come off as. If you slow down, for even a second, how much of your audience is going to remain? Why should they, is the better question. You're a shameless Geeks and Gamers ripoff, with nothing to offer but lies and bitterness towards the passions you claim to love so dearly. I heard from many people who eventually just walked away from people like you because they just got sick of the constant outrage and your lack of delivery on the promised land you talk up so constantly. You people clearly didn't affect anything. Movies and games are more diverse than ever, more socially conscious than ever before, despite all of your objections and labelings of pandering. You've done nothing. You've solved nothing. If anything, you only made the problems worse because you thought the best way to fight SJWs was to be a worse version of them. To fight outrage with bigger outrage. To fight minor backlashes with major backlashes. And look what happened. The exact opposite result. You still think you're invincible? I'd be more than happy to show you just how wrong you are. I'm Karina McDaniels, and I'll see you next time, motherfucker! Oh, damn it. Fucking tripped on my cord. I was supposed to walk away. I was supposed to sound cool. I was supposed to sound badass and shit. Like an anime, but guess that didn't work. I guess I'll just sit here and, like, eat some more cake. Cake sounds good right now. I like cake. Yeah.